that player intro, Dan. It was like poetry.
I try to give players like
That was audio
the
chocolate.
red carpet treatment, man. I want to make all of them seem very cool because QXC is one of the coolest guys, and I've never met Dimaga, but he told me he's just one of the best
Dimaga
guys.
is the coolest guy. Last time I was in Ukraine, it was in January. He was like, "Hey, let's jump into the river together." I was like,
In January? Must have been freezing.
The river was frozen.
And did you?
There was about 8 feet of snow on the ground.
Dimaga sounds like he would run the Tough Mudder really easily.
Dimaga's a tough guy. He's served in the Ukrainian military.
Oh, that's right. And he sold jackets and stuff too. He's been through a lot.
He's lived. He's a really good guy, man. But he's lived through adversity, and I feel like that builds great character. And I feel like Dimaga has some of the greatest character of anybody in esports. He's so grateful, just to be a pro gamer, and is just a fantastic guy. I have so much respect for Dimaga. Really love him.
Did you see him tweet at you? He was also very proud of your accomplishment.
I did. I've been bragging for the past few hours because last night we went to the gym and I bench pressed 205 pounds. I was really proud of myself. It was at the end of my workout too, so I feel like I could have even done more if I was fresh.
You can bench 2 Laurens basically.
Yeah, that's actually what Lauren said.
Is that what she said too?
So it's creepy how alike you guys think.
I guess that's why we get along so well.
But I tweeted about it, and Dimaga was like, "Hey, not bad." And I'm like actually bitterly thinking, Dimaga, you be quiet. I know you can bench 400 pounds. Because Dimaga is shredded, man. When you talk about the buffest guys in esports, Dimaga makes Caldor look like Frodan week 1.
Wow, I was very thin week 1. Really? Dimaga's that much stronger than Caldor?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't wager any amount of money.
Caldor
is really buff, but Dimaga is also a very buff guy.
I like to think pound for pound though. I'm pretty strong.
I shook hands with Dimaga once. His wrist is about as big around as my bicep.
His wrist?
Yeah.
I like the most twiggish wrists I've ever seen.
So he's just like a
it literally
big,
looks
strong guy.
like a fall tree. Like, you know, where like all the leaves are falling off and you realize how trees look kind of silly without their leaves. That's my wrist, man. I got 2 of them.
Dima's a beast, man. QXC's a beast too, man. Another one of the more athletic pro gamers. Yeah, does parkour. Is a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Wait, really?
Which makes him a.
So he can. You think he can?
He's a bad dude.
Out grapple you?
Yeah, definitely.
Ben's a sick grappler though. So is Andre. Man, there's so many people in esports that like could kick my butt. I better watch what I say.
QXC's bigger than me and stronger than me, and knows at least as much as me.
Better at Terran than you.
Much better at Terran and probably much better at Zerg than me. QXC's a very good StarCraft player.
Yeah. Now that we've painted a very nice portrait for you guys of what these players are like, let's talk a little bit about what we've seen thus far. We see a pretty standard Hellion reactor opening from QXC, although he got 1 gas and he's getting a delayed 2nd gas. Now that gives him several options, but usually you don't go for a delayed 2nd gas if you want to go for Cloak Banshee. And QXC does like aggressive stuff, which makes me always kind of question when he plays like mech. You know, I don't really necessarily think mech and QXC mesh. It's kind of like watching MMA mech. You know, something just doesn't necessarily feel right. But I mean, he's more than capable of pulling off those kinds of styles. QXC, of course, known for even his famous quote recently on Reddit saying, "If you're not attacking, you're losing."
I admire QXC for his intelligence. He's a smart player, and he makes even when he's making mistakes, you see the genius of what he was trying to achieve, and I admire that about him a lot. Look at what Dimaga's done here, Dan.
The hatchery canceled.
Hatch canceled to spread creep faster in the middle of the map. This is very cool. Something that I think Spanishiwa first started to do. Andre showed it to me, and I steal it at every opportunity. But basically, he sent a drone out to the middle of the map, started the hatchery, canceled it, and laid creep tumors.
Yep.
And this is going to kickstart his creep spread. Unfortunately, it's going to let these Hellions run around the Queens.
And the Hellions now get a good scout, might be able to pick off a few drones here and there. QXC also sees no gas at the main. I don't know if he saw gas at the natural. He did see gas at the natural. Actually, it's very nice too. But QXC is actually able to pick off a lot more drones than I thought he was. He's
10 drones, 11 drones.
Not bad.
And ultimately, Dimaga will deal with the Hellion harass, but there are more Hellions incoming, which is a little bit troublesome. Supply-wise, it's still pretty even. Even if we look at the economies, Dimaga's still right there where he needs to be, about 40 drones to about 40 SCVs. There's a Cloak Banshee follow-up coming from QXC, though. And this is going to do more damage. Hellion's going to get into the natural. That's going to do more damage.
Yeah, QXC doing a little bit more of an economic-centric Cloak Banshee opening by going for a faster command center, getting some nice drone kills.
Dimaga looking a little sloppy here. Grand total of 18 drones have already died this game, Dan, and now Dimaga's down to 32 harvesters against 43.
And the best part is that QXC's harass will continue to get better because Banshee Hellion allows you to be very annoying in multiple places, and it's going to force Dimaga into uncomfortable positions. Dimaga forced to make a spine crawler with one of those drones instead. Now the cloak has been revealed. Dimaga's starting an Overseer, but the Banshee's still going to be able to get some good damage in.
Yep. One single hole in Dimaga's early game here is that he doesn't have creep connecting his bases. He's got great creep in front of his bases.
Oh, Dimaga also missed a chance fuse on those 2 queens. He had both of them at 70 plus energy. Not able really to do much. Now the Overseer gets here, but the Banshee can just confront the queen.
Yeah, so sloppiness from Dimaga. Banshees and Hellions still being active in the main base as well. QXC is everywhere at once right now. He's killed 25 workers, and Dimaga still struggling just to keep up. 45 drones against 50 SCVs with more drones still falling. And QXC's harass this game has been phenomenal. Dimaga has clearly made a couple of mistakes.
And more drones are going to die at the natural, Ben. 4 Hellions able to still get into position. And one more roast for the books. 37 workers have been killed, and it's 54 SCVs to 36 drones. Dimaga does manage to pick off one of the Banshees. QXC did not manage to cloak it in time. The creep spread from Dimaga is still pretty nice, but I mean, he doesn't have really a strong economy.
That's a lot further advanced than it would have been had he not done the low ground creep spread stuff. QXC is going to try to scan and take out some of these tumors in the middle of the map, but interestingly enough, he does not kill any of the active tumors, or actually one active tumor does fall. That's good news for Dimaga. He'll be able to continue to push his creep forward, which will give him more vision, more mobility throughout the mid-game. He's finally, I think, stabilized, but is not really in a position where he can freely drone, just because of these Hellions still being out on the map.
What's kind of crazy, too, is that QXC's hit this very well, because it looks like he's going Hellion Banshees non-stop, and even the Marines that are poking the Overlord is only 2 Marines. So it still kind of looks like mech in the eyes of Dimaga, but we all know what's going on. QXC already has 1-1 done. He's going to start 2-2, and he's going to have a very nice Marine tank push following this up.
This is what I mean when I say QXC's play is very smart. So much intelligence here. He has shown mech to Dimaga, and he's not meching at all. Roaches and Queens going to come forward and chase away the last of these Hellions, but Cloak Banshees in the main base continuing to be very annoying. There's also no Spore Crawlers in the natural, so QXC continuing to just do relentless amounts of damage.
Very good control here from QXC. He even lands the 3rd in a position I like better than the conventional one, because you're able to take a more aggressive spot. You have to defend less places. You usually wall off the top of this ramp too. This is a move we see Alive do quite often from Fnatic. These Banshee is able to take out the extractors. Now you might think that's not that big of a deal, but it is. Zerg wants to get up their other tech. QXC actually lets it live for a little bit. He's not necessarily able to take out the extractor. Man.
Extractor will eventually heal back to full health because it's awesome.
It's like, it doesn't even make sense, right? It's like it's bleeding, it's like gasping for breath, and like you really think it's like his last moments, but
creep gives it life force.
It like breathes life.
Finally, Dimaga's going to kill this final Banshee.
Very nice from Dimaga to finally clean it up, but he's got bigger things to worry about now. He says, "Oh, I see bio. Do I have the infestors to deal with the bio?" And the answer is no. He's got roaches, because he was expecting more Hellions to pop out, and just roaches against bio is, well, we all know how that ends, man.
It's lackluster, man. Stemmed bio under Medivacs is fantastic against roaches, even with well-upgraded roaches in play. Dimaga's numbers in the case of this drop are overwhelming, so QXC has to lift. But Demon needs to figure out some sort of answer to this bio play. Baneling Nest or Infestation Pit. It will be Infestors.
Yeah, I mean, but once tanks get into position, roaches just can't really approach the bio. Need at least something to buffer, whether it's Zerglings, Banelings, or even more. QXC taking a 4th base very aggressively rather than setting up a 2-2 timing. This is very, very actually confident play from QXC. I like it. You know, he's taking really strong tempo from his opponent, constantly harassing, never truly overextending himself, and able to do lots of damage. QXC is double dropping once again in the main, but Dimaga doesn't really have the units in place, and the drop is doing way more.
A couple transfusions on Roaches, picks off a couple bio units, does buy himself the time for the majority of his army to get back in position. Will lose a queen, but picks off a medevac and a handful of bio. Dimaga has, surprisingly, Dan, reached back and found some semblance of stability. He's at 160 supply against 166 supply, so even in supply, technically. The problem still, though, is that he doesn't seem to have a good answer for this bio. A lot of Roaches about to get caught in a really awkward spot. Dimaga's going to come forward and try to pick up a tank, but should run back. He's not going to be able to win this fight. Losing a lot of Roaches to these stemmed Marines and Marauders.
Over at the 4th, Dimaga does have a run by, and QXC trying to stem his units, just going to pile into the bunker and try to repair it, which means he should be fine. QXC also moving closer to the center of Dimaga's half of the side. He burrowed some Roaches to avoid it. The Roaches do take care of the bunker. QXC not stabilizing back at home because he doesn't have the tank in position, but he's just going to trade a couple bases. It's okay. I guess he could just lift his command center while Zerg really can't go anywhere.
Dimaga, meanwhile, is building infestors, which will give him some sort of an answer to this attacking force. The problem that he has is that at least one of them is building at this 3rd base, which is probably going to be killed shortly. QXC eventually has kind of stabilized back at home. There are still Roaches in his natural.
Yeah, he just needs to kind of get that tank. That tank, what are you doing? Tank! What are you doing?
Siege tank, stop! Siege tank.
Go home.
Actually, surprisingly, Dimaga's going to clean up all of this back at his 3rd base, and he's not going to lose this expansion. That's a really nice turn of events for him. It's going to give him the stability he needs to maybe make it into a healthy mid-game. He does have infestors out now, so he will be able to do something about the bio. The problem that he has is economically he is behind, man. He has 48 drones to 73 SCVs. He has 3 bases to 4. And that's really not a position that you can macro from as a Zerg player, certainly not when you're playing Roach Infestor against a sort of bio siege tank. I mean, QXC has the ideal army for fighting what Dimaga is doing.
Yeah, I don't really think Dimaga can do anything about this fortified position from QXC. He even has 2-2, so he's on even upgrades and he's getting +3. That's going to really amplify the power of the Marines, considering Dimaga isn't anywhere near any kind of tech other than layer. He's stuck on this composition for a while. And if he tries to tech switch out of it, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He doesn't even have that strong of economy. He's not mining that much gas, Ben. He's on 5 geysers, not even optimizing his 6th one.
He's basically pure Roach Infestor. It'd almost be funny, and it might even make sense for him to throw down a Hydralisk Den at this point. We know that Stefano showed some of that against Ganji today in the Lone Star Clash. But in general, you don't see those kinds of play. It doesn't make the most sense. Oh, Dimaga wanted to catch a medevac, but...
Well, now he will, but at the cost of trapping almost all of his units. QXC's going to stem in and almost immediately snipe 2 infestors, and the rest of the army is trapped here. Oh, no, Ben. They're stuck in limbo. These Zerg really units need a medevac.
Very awkward position for Dimaga. He's going to need some great fungals, but it's just not meant to be. There's not enough energy. There's not enough Roaches. Dimaga's got great upgrades, but so does QXC, and he is maxed out. Dimaga is trapped.
He is going for a massive attack at the 4th base with more Roaches. QXC not leaving a lot of units behind, moving everything at one point. That's the only drawback of trying to trap the army with everything. But QXC realizes that Dimaga spent so much. He had so many resources in that army. 3 infestors are burrowing to the 3rd base, the conventional 3rd base of QXC, and that'll be a nice source of harassment. But Dimaga still has to climb back and answer the question, when will he be able to get a high-tech composition?
And Dimaga is trying to really take advantage of his multitask. He's got some of the best multitasking that there is in the foreign scene. More Roaches running into stem bio, though, and again, bio tank is just the ideal composition to fight against pure Roach. Dimaga is working hard here to do damage and to spread QXC out, but unfortunately, he's fighting a losing battle. QXC knows it. He's pushing forward with a lot of medevacs, a lot of Marine Marauder, and he just wants to deny expansions and to continue to strangle Dimaga. Ironically, because of all the damage that Dimaga take, he still has money in each of his bases, but it's not that much. He's starting to run out of cash, and when he does eventually mine out his bases, he's going to have no real answer. He's going to be out of options.
Well, Dimaga does have a couple of infestors hatching, trying to see if he can salvage anything, but with mainly Marauders in the front to tank everything. Siege Tank's not even really helping that much. QXC moving without them. He spread them a little bit too far, Ben. Would like the Roaches to move forward, but he's trading very nicely. It's not like Dimaga can keep up this kind of production and afford to lose units, as QXC just has way too much.
That's right, man. QXC's staying max. Dimaga's stuck at like 115 supply. He is cranking out Roaches at a really frantic pace, but I mean,
wow.
Tunnel helps a little, but
this one tank is definitely screwed. It's like, yeah, you guys move on. I'll hold the rear.
Bad day to be that guy.
QXC pushing in the third base. His third base will drop. That's the biggest source of income for Dimaga, considering how many mineral patches are left. Dimaga just has Roaches, like just a couple of Roaches, a couple of infestors, drones cowering in the corner, asking the infestor when it's going to be over, but it's going to keep going, Ben, until QXC gets what he wants, which is the GG.
That's right, man. It's all over here in game number 1. QXC playing great on Daybreak. Dimaga did his best, but is forced to concede. GG gets called, and QXC goes up 1-0 in this best of 3.
Very well done. QXC's build in general looked really cool. Delayed gas, that way Zerg doesn't be suspicious of a Cloak Banshee. Then when the Cloak Banshee comes, like, okay, is he going mech? He only showed Hellions. Then went back into bio. Very well done, dropping constantly, aggressive. That's like the textbook QXC that everyone's been waiting to see to take that to the international level.
It was brought to you guys by Squarespace. All the tools you need to build an exceptional web page available for you at nasl.tv/p/Squarespace. We're going to take a short break. Game 2, Dimaga versus QXC when we get back.